We're ready to fight the frights of the night with our man Constantine, as displayed by the ever-stunning Keanu Reeves. We have what the sequel simply must tackle, plus everything that we already know about Constantine too. To fight the menace of eternal damnation, we'll need everyone's help, so be sure to watch till the end to catch it all. First up, how has Constantine held up? Not to age our millennials in the audience another decade, but Constantine came out in 2005. Wow, that's a few decades between sequels now, isn't it? Despite the long wait, it has aged gracefully and is a solid horror flick. Francis Lawrence directed this Keanu Reeves pick, where our favorite actor represented the top dog paranormal investigator and horror hero Constantine. Reeves brought the star power. The set and costume designers worked with some CGI pioneers to bring out amazing yet grotesque action, and Constantine emerged to be remembered as a standalone thriller flick with strong horror overtones. The film is an obvious parallel to Marvel's Blade. Both are older, popular franchises with a paranormal battle and investigation theme. The last Blade trilogy film of the original run actually came out just before Constantine, and it looks like they're yet again to be on a series of silver screen duets, only this time Constantine is set for more than just one shot. Let's go over what we need out of Constantine 2 and highlight some of our favorite parts from the first outings, shall we, Demon Hunters? Now then, let's discuss the amazing performance as Papa Midnight by Jimon Honso. Constantine is largely fixated on its titular protagonist, as one would expect an introspective investigation with a brooding investigator fighting for the fate of the world to do. This smoked up, down on his luck, melancholy demon hunter is sentenced to eternal damnation after all, so that gives a man a lot to think about. Despite all that, they managed to cram a great supporting cast into the runtime on this flick. Rachel Weisz is the second most prominent character in Constantine. She's a police detective smack dab at the center of a monstrous series of events and totally in over her head. She reaches out, albeit reluctantly, to Constantine for his aid. Constantine's got a small circle of friends and acquaintances who all sell their roles endearingly and memorably for fans new and old alike of the Demon Hunter's antics. One in particular stands out, because while the people who get close to Constantine pay a price for proximity to such a man, the danger is perhaps to the audience in having their hearts stolen by the utterly perfect portraitly of Papa Midnight provided by Jimon Honso. As a man who straddles the DC and Marvel divide in his acting performances, it's no wonder he is highly sought after. Honso's Midnight is incredibly accurate to the comics, which delights many traditional fans of the series. But anyone can fall in love with a morally ambiguous character who chews the scenery and brings a stately demeanor and gravely voice to the role of a dark magic practicing nightclub owner who moonlights as Constantine's ally when the time is right. Jimon played the wizard Shazam prior in DC flicks and has been a Kree warrior in the MCU. He relishes the opportunity to play this ethically ambiguous badass. A sequel without him would disappoint not just his budding star actor, but also everyone else waiting patiently to see what's up. The iconic British actor Tilda Swinton, recently of Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio fame, brought something special to the role of Gabriel. This mesmerizing archangel refusing to help the sick and dying Constantine really made a mark on audiences, just as she did upon the down-on-his-luck investigator's soul. Peter Stormare did not come out until two penultimate scenes, but one could say they saved the best for last. This magnetically attractive portrayal of the devil, who is as suave as he is hellish, mesmerized audiences then and now. He's a great vision of purple evil. He knows who he is and does not care. The presence of the City of Angels as a character. While Constantine has been transplanted from London to LA, Los Angeles simply steals the show in this film rendition. What can we say? Hollywood loves to portray LA with a deeply romantic yet dire framing that brings us back loving it every time, and Constantine is only exceptional in that they did it exceptionally well here. Of course, many pop culture depictions show LA as a sunny and modern place. Lawrence, however, depicts a truer side of the city, grimy, unpleasant, at night in the rain, and an overly dingy parking lot of a city is splayed upon the film's screen for the viewers to dissect with the director. Interiors are gently used as a real estate listing with too few pictures would term it, and the weathering of the whole city gives a sense of realism and place. It's not a too perfect plastic of your average superhero film fare, and that's part of why we need DC to bring it back. Not overly edgy and grimdark, but just as dark as it needs to be, perhaps even just as dark as it really is. The inherent darkness of the city mirrors the darkness of the characters' souls in the stunning film depiction that casts the City of Angels in a supernatural light, or rather shadow. The film lets people see hell, which looks more like LA, a rush hour than anything else. Of course, it's all part of an aesthetic framework. There are impactful and surreal moments that could be out of a post-apocalyptic film. The story brings the promise of eternal damnation as an ever-hanging sword of Damocles over Constantine's head. However, when Constantine is permitted passage into heaven, LA's buildings are used in a cityscape obscured by brilliant white clouds. This all brought together a tight visual language we simply need to see rebuilt for Constantine 2. There has been much made of the grimdark aesthetic of many recent DC films. There is, however, no real taste for the vibe in audiences because it often comes off just as hollow as Marvel's perfectly plastic, squeaky clean worlds. With a cohesive design language, the LA of Constantine 1 was a star of the show in its own right, and we simply must see it return or else we will not be getting the full potential of the film. That's especially important now as Constantine 2 may launch a franchise and form the basis for crossover events and spin-offs. Visions of the Dead: Constantine's Power to See Ghosts. Comic fans may have been surprised to learn that film Constantine can see the dead. These ghosts and demons in the world of the living are amazing shadows across time and space that give him great opportunity. We have a lot coming from Keanu's jaded sense of the Constantine character as opposed to the more upbeat counterpart depicted in the Hellblazer comics. This could seriously be explored in the film, not least of which because people coming to see a comic book franchise film are probably expecting superpowers of some sort. This could really grow to be something that isn't just painful during the tragic backstory where he gets it, but also in his future with greater powers and prices introduced as he goes deeper into his predicaments. DC shakeups may be giving us a very unique John Constantine. The DC universe has been shot by a real work of a weapon, a James gun to be precise. The announcement of Constantine 2 comes on the heels of all sorts of will they won't they drama about big stars like Henry Cavill and roles like Superman himself. Even though many Hellblazer fans who love the NBC Constantine hold up Matt Ryan as their one true Constantine, Keanu Reeves did real research into the source material and went right for the character's emotional core in his film appearance. The character has real longevity, and it's apparent in the fact that fans are jockeying over who ought to get to wear the trench coat of the one and only brooding hero of the night, John Constantine. Matt Ryan's performance dripped golden charisma. To be sure, the molten stuff of swooning fans' hearts may not be enough to hold back the volcano-shattering tide of Gunn's changes. We think that a return to the older formula is likely the only path forward for the franchise at the moment. With director and actor home, they can bring John Constantine back from heaven and plunge him straight into hell without worrying about the future so greatly they look to summoning a daemon for aid. Because a Keanu flick with these sorts of star-studded backup options is guaranteed to bring in cash hand over fist either way. We can see an old and wiser Constantine back to his old haunts after many years with this setup, so the 2-decade span is only giving more opportunity for action. What do we know about Constantine 2? John Wick has provided Keanu Reeves with a massive career resurgence, and he's now top pick the world over for starring role actors. There was serious discussion of whether or not they could land him for the flick, but as hope rose that a sequel could be made, Reeves and others involved in the original began talking, and it seems that has borne fruit. A sequel has been announced, and we know a few things definitely. We know Keanu is coming back to play the supernatural exorcist star John Constantine, but it's unsure whether Peter Stormare comes back as the devil. Francis Lawrence reprises his directorial role with a few more high-profile notches on his belt since last time, like I Am Legend and Hunger Games 2. Screenwriter extraordinaire Akiva Goldsman is going to pen the script and has great credentials, having worked on A Beautiful Mind and Star Trek Picard. The film will be produced through the Weed Road Pictures production companies, while J.J. Abrams and Hannah Minghella are working on it through Bad Robot in unclear capacities. The story is still under wraps, but the original film's ending does set up some arcs we'd love to see revisited, resolved, and revised. We're off to hell for now, paranormal patrons. Like to send a demon back where they came from and subscribe to see the ghosts of videos past and future on our channel.
Some people go.